Tonight, deep in the valleys of Southern California, one man will win the World Series of Poker West Regional Championship and over $250,000. 6 hopefuls remain at this combative final table.
It's a game of courage and heartbreak. All the money's on the line in one shot.
Can chip leader Ali Islami fend off the likes of veteran Steve Brecker and college student DJ Blanchard? Can rising star Tim West win the West? There's only one way to find out. The championship continues from Harrah's Rincon Casino right now. Welcome back to Harrah's Rincon. A tournament that started with 98 $10,000 buy-ins is now down to just 6. Hello everyone, Ali Najad along with Antonio Esfandiari, set to watch this interesting remaining field. David Peters, owner of both a JD and an MBA, pretty smart guy. Ali Islami, a high-limit player with a lot of cash game experience. DJ Blanchard, a young pro who's close to finishing his degree at UNLV. Tim West, a California pro who's rapidly improving his resume. And the elder statesman at the table, Steve Brecker, followed by former RE/MAX realtor Dana Kellstrom, who rounds out the remaining 6. Kellstrom is the short stack, but not much difference between 3rd and 6th place. Everyone chasing Islami and West. Tim had the chip lead for most of the final table, but Islami recently took the top spot from him. Play continues 6-handed with the blinds at 6 and 12,000 and an ante of 2,000.
From the start of 9-handed to play at 6-handed now, Ali Islami seemed to be getting in there and playing more hands than his opponents. He has the experience. Does he have what it takes to close the deal?
That is yet to be determined. Over to Dana Kellstrom, who's closed a few deals himself. One of the former top RE/MAX realtors in the state of California before starting his own company, which specialized in the buying and selling of other companies. He's looking to buy a pot here. With ace-5, he's raised to 30,000. Over to Islami on the button. 5-6 suited.
Islami is thinking call, 3-bet. What to do?
Why not fold?
Folding is also an option. I mean, he does have 6-high, but he does have position, and he's got suited connectors. I'm okay either way. I don't mind folding this hand once in a while.
Islami's elected to just call. He'll be heads up with that all-important position against Dana Kellstrom. And the flop, a couple of diamonds and a couple of 4s. It's a good one for Islami. Kellstrom's ace-5 still the best hand. He's got a wheel draw.
Islami's behind now, but given the number of outs that he has, he's a favorite in the hand.
Flush and straight draws for Ali. Kellstrom bets 40,000.
If I'm Islami here, I'm more often than not going to ship it. However, just calling with position is okay, because even if his opponent is bluffing with a hand like ace-queen, ace-king, now calling is very scary because on the turn, it's very hard for him to fire again.
Turn card is a 3. Both players have made a straight. Kellstrom with the wheel, Islami with the 6-high.
How do we say goodbye, Kellstrom?
It's going to get ugly here.
60,000.
Dana bet 60,000. You see from the percentages, he cannot win this pot. Could only hope to chop if a 6 hit the river.
Come on.
Raise all in. I got it. I call.
We could have got it all in on flop, but I was pretty sure you had the big pair. So.
Islami putting Kellstrom in for his remaining stack. Dana makes the call.
Oh, now that I did not expect.
What?
And he looks disgusted.
As he should be. He made a straight at the final table, only to find his opponent had made a higher straight. Kellstrom not very happy right now.
Well, he may not be happy, but he is being sportsmanlike. Handshakes all around from Dana Kellstrom, who finishes in 6th place. He'll take home a decent chunk of change for that effort. Just over $50,000 to be exact. Everyone's focused on that $282,000, but we focused on Dana Kellstrom's thoughts before he took off.
Once I committed 50,000 chips, I've got to commit them. I don't see how I can lay the hand down. I think that maybe I can double up there from the chip leader, and, you know, if he has an overpair or whatever, then so be it. All things being considered, I guess I just take a deep breath and, you know, be happy that I won some money and did good.
One other reason to be happy for Källström, every player at this final table automatically qualifies for the national championship in Las Vegas. That's a $1 million free roll held at Caesars Palace. King 8 suited for Islami, who just knocked out his second straight opponent.
Islami on the momentum train. When you're on the final table, you're winning pots and you're busting your opponents. It feels good.
And he's looking to keep the trend going, raising to $39,000 to open the pot. Tim West with a couple of jacks, however.
A nice spot to be in. On the button, 2 jacks. Your opponent's raised.
Fold it to the button.
He can 3-bet or he can flat. Both options are okay in my book.
Yet to be determined is which option West is going to go with. And it looks like a smooth call of $39,000 up against the chip leader. West currently second in chips.
And given that he's against the chip leader, he decided to flat call with the jacks because he doesn't want to put himself in a situation where he gets re-raised and he might have to play his whole stack for 2 jacks.
He's heads up and in position, and he's flopped a set of jacks. Ace high board. Swing and a miss for Islami. Not going to slow him down. He fires $72,000.
Which is standard. You always want to do a continuation bet after the flop, hoping that your opponent has missed the flop as well.
West is measuring out a little something, and it looks like more than 72 grand total. 180,000 to be exact. On the rainbow board, might have wanted to think about slow playing.
Slow playing is an option. However, if he slow plays, he might be giving Islami a free card, which he doesn't want to do. If Islami has an ace in his hand, he's going to get action anyway. So I think raising was the correct play.
He'll be a touch disappointed not to get any additional action with a hand that strong. That's a decent-sized pot, however, for Tim West, who narrows the gap between himself and the chip leader. While the players compete for the remaining 5 spots, they can take consolation that they're all qualified for the national championship in Vegas, a tournament you can't buy into. It's a $1 million free roll with just 100 players, big prize pool, and a bracelet to the winner. 36 of the 100 players will come from the final tables of the 4 regional championships. Back to the action, Islami under the gun with ace-9 offsuit. His momentum was disrupted by Tim West.
Doesn't seem to slow him down.
Not at all.
And it shouldn't. He has an ace in his hand. It's relatively short, and you should be in there playing a lot of pots when you have all the chips.
Over to West on the button again. He's got 10-8 suited.
Depending on the tempo between the 2 players, 10-8 suited here, either a 3-bet or a flat is okay. He's definitely not going to fold.
But folding wouldn't be a mistake, would it?
You know, you don't want to give up your position. You have the button, and you kind of have to take advantage of that. You can't just be folding your buttons if you want to be a successful no-limit hold'em player.
Steve Brecker with a bit of a dilemma. He's got king-queen offsuit. Maintaining his discipline, he pitches it.
I think that would have been a good spot for Brecker to make a move. Any 2 cards Islami could have, and his opponent did just flat on the button. He's not worried about a monster. He could have shipped it there.
5-high flop with a couple of clubs, neither player connecting. Islami's ace-high is still the best hand. No continuation bet this time, however. He just checks it over to Tim.
Tim has to stab. He has 10-high. He can't win the pot any other way. Islami showed some weakness by checking.
But Ali's well aware of Tim's obligation to fire here. 63,000 is the bet.
Islami looks like he's going to call out of position with ace-high. I don't particularly like this play. Either bet the flop, check raise, or fold. Just calling out of position with the ace-high is a weak play overall.
Unless you know you're going to hit top pair on the turn. Pair of 9s now for Islami, who checks again to Tim West. 236,000 in the pot.
If Tim proceeds to bet, he is now representing a set of some sort. If he had a 5 in his hand, a hand like ace-5 or something like that, he's not going to bet it that strong once the 9 comes over on the turn.
Tim fires 175,000. Islami calls. This is a monster pot. 586 total in the middle. Queen on the end changes nothing. Third check from Ali, and will Tim fire the third barrel or shut it down?
All right, you win.
West opts for the ladder as he checks. And Islami's all too happy to roll over the winner and put some healthy distance between himself and Tim West.
Good check on the river by West. Islami probably would have called.
Bad poker face. Doesn't matter when you play online at partypoker.com. It's fun, it's easy, it's the world's largest poker room.
Welcome back to the World Series of Poker West Regional Championship presented by AMP Energy. We're down to just 5 players here in Rincon. Islami and West have the experience and the chips, but will that translate into a win for one of them?
Experience really does pay off in these certain situations. If you've been there before, you've felt the pressure, you know how to act, it does help.
Ace-King suited helps. Steve Brecker staring at that right now.
Steve Brecker seems to get a lot of hands.
Well, he seems to only play big hands, raising to 40,000.
No,
Ali Islami inadvertently exposing his 6-9 suited. And the deck exposing pocket aces to DJ Blanchard's eyes. Calm, cool, and collected. Blanchard smooth calls, looking to slow play and set a little trap for Steve Brecker.
He knows that Brecker is capable of folding premium hands. If he gets 3-bet here, he doesn't want to lose his opponent. He's also short stacked, so I don't really mind the flat here.
Flop is 7-9-6. Ali Islami would have made 2 pair. Action's been checked to Brecker, who doesn't bite. And the turn is an ace. Top set for Blanchard. Top pair, top kicker for Brecker. This is trouble.
It's just a matter of how and when the chips are getting in the middle.
Blanchard is checked. And Steve will put him all in.
I call.
DJ has no problem snap calling for his remaining stack. 452,000 chip pot is going to head to DJ Blanchard as Steve Brecker is drawing dead. Insignificant 5 on the river. And that worked out rather nicely for DJ Blanchard. He got tricky and it paid off. His double up is going to move him to 3rd in the chip counts and push Steve Brecker back to the bottom of the leaderboard. As we take a look at the current chip counts, Ali Islami has got almost half the chips in play, 2.94 million total chips at the final table right now. Ali in complete control, Tim West in second with just shy of 800,000 as we return to 5-handed action with the blinds at 8 and 16,000, and he's still at 2K. DJ Blanchard under the gun.
We could have fun. What do I need?
3-5 suited for him.
A really good joke right there about my pink shirt, and we would have laughed.
Both he and Tim West laying down. 9-3 off for Steve Brecker on the button, not his favorite.
I'm all in.
David Peters ships it from the small blind with ace-4.
Oh, wow.
This is very standard. He's in a small blind with a short stack. He's got an ace in his hand. He has to ship.
Okay, see how we do.
The TV sweat.
And Islami's got an ace. Doesn't know what his kicker is yet.
Doesn't need to know. It's going to be a call.
Not one by
100 something.
Well, he looks at an 8.
I don't count this one. I don't think.
I don't do it.
I'll call it.
And he makes the call.
King 10, Ali? I thought you had King 10 off.
I'm dead.
Ace 8.
Oh, I didn't expect that.
Well, Peters says he's dead, but we all know stranger things have happened at final tables. He's certainly a dog heading to the
That
flop.
was better than I expected.
Looking at the percentages.
Or else you would beat him into it.
Here it comes, 8-6-6. Ali Islami moves out into a dominating position. David Peters drawn virtually dead. He needs a couple of runners just to keep hope alive.
I need a queen now.
Queen of Spades isn't going to cut it, and that seals his fate as our 5th place finisher.
All right.
Ali Islami has knocked out his 3rd straight opponent. in the form of one David Peters, who will say his goodbyes and earn a little over $66,000 for his effort on the evening. We're down to just 4 players at Harrah's Rincon in the West Regional Championship. We're back for continuing coverage of the West Regional Championship from Harrah's Rincon Hotel and Casino just north of San Diego. No Limit Hold'em has been television's game of choice for the last decade or so, but why? We asked our final table.
The reason I feel No Limit is good for TV and is the best game for poker right now is because styles make fights.
It kind of grabs you from your seat a little bit. You want to watch and see what's going on.
No Limit's a pure game, and people want to see it. There's, tons of action.
It's a tremendous amount of pressure to be under, and I think pressure is ultimately good TV. It's drama. It's just like how they put a bunch of people in a room and they make them interact with each other and fight with each other.
It's because I can't call, huh?
You wouldn't just tell me you didn't look. I really look.
You don't get to know. No Limit is that kind of a game.
No Limit translates to TV because it's just plain cool.
Well, at some point, No Limit Hold'em is going to have to give up its stranglehold on the poker world. But what do you think would take its place?
Pot Limit Omaha is the only game that has a chance. You get twice as many cards, and there's a lot more action.
That's what people are looking for. King, queen offsuit for Islami, who just limps in. We haven't seen a lot of that at this final table.
You want to mix it up a little bit. You're raising, you're opening a lot. Now you limp in, people don't know what you have.
West follows suit by limping from the small blind. Brecker checks his option. And that's going to be a troublesome flop for Steve Brecker. He's got top pair, but so does Ali Islami with a better kicker. Action checked around to Ali.
I will be shocked if Steve Brecker finds a way to get away from this. He's short-stacked and he flopped top pair. I think this is the end of him.
Well, what could be the beginning of the end starts with Islami betting $30,000.
All in.
Brecker moves all in for $154.
All right. I'm probably going to call you. But I have to make a quick calculation that has nothing to do with my hand, so don't feel slow rolled. Sorry. So I have them. Yeah. Okay. I call.
Islami making some disclaimers before making the call.
Later if you want.
Oh, no problem.
I want to tell you in advance I'm not slow rolling. There's something I had to think about.
No need for explanation.
Clearly wanting to make sure Steve Brecker doesn't feel disrespected at all by Ali taking his time before making the call. Board pairs on the turn, and now Steve Brecker can only chop with an ace-king or a 9. Deuce of clubs isn't going to cut it, and Ali Islami claiming his 4th consecutive victim. Steve Brecker the casualty this time, just missing the podium with a 4th place finish, good for $90,223. Not a bad payday. Ali Islami has double the chips of 2nd place Tim West and 4 times the chips of DJ Blanchard. We caught up with Steve Brecker just after the elimination.
Well, I don't know if you can regret bad luck, whether it makes any sense to do that. Naturally, one doesn't like bad luck, but as long as it wasn't my fault, it's not really a regret.
Steve Brecker's been here before, clearly taking it all in stride.
I've played quite a few hands with him.
You did.
Nice guy. Plays good, solid. Doesn't get out of line too much.
Ace Jack of Hearts on the button for DJ Blanchard.
3-handed, Ace Jack suited on the button.
Raised to $45,000.
What more do you want?
What more do you want? I was lost for words there.
$45,000 is the raise by DJ. A couple of 5s for Tim West.
This is a pretty standard 3-bet, I think. Blanchard could be opening with a lot of hands, and in any situation, if you wake up with a pair in the small blind, you kind of want to 3-bet it.
You definitely don't want a smooth call and allow a scary flop to end your hopes of winning the pot. Tim West knows that, makes it 205.
West making a pretty big raise here, showing his opponent that he's going to go all the way with his hand.
$160,000 to call for DJ Blanchard.
Blanchard in a tough spot here. If he goes with it, he's going all the way. He does have ace-jack. He could be up against an underpair or quite possibly an ace-king or an ace-queen.
Well, he'd much rather be up against the underpair.
And a call.
Blanchard shipping it all in. West makes the call, and we've got an 887,000 chip pot. This is a big one.
Will it be heads or will it be tails?
Well, Tim West's side of the coin is a slight favorite.
Can we put some side action on it? I'll take heads, you take tails.
Yeah, sounds good, as long as heads was ace-jack. 9-4-8 on the board. Pocket fives have gotten through the roughest patch, which is the flop. Now they need to avoid an ace or a jack on the turn and river. So far, so good. DJ Blanchard is down to 6 outs for his tournament life. And that's not one of them. Tim West is going to win a huge pot and be down to heads up with Ali Islami. For DJ Blanchard, a valiant effort. Nothing much he could have done in that spot. He's going to collect $124,000 and change for the third place finish.
He played really well at this final table. He was focused. He looked determined, very calm. I was impressed.
Up next, it's the heads-up match we thought was inevitable. Islami and West, and the stacks are just about even. Welcome back to RingCon, the third of 4 stops on the road to the National Championship in Las Vegas. We're down to heads up.
Let's go, baby.
Because you know I can't call, huh?
Miller Dow was the first player to bust at this final table, and Dylan Wilkerson followed soon thereafter.
I'm all in.
Mr. Personality Dwight Pilgrim bowed out in 7th, and Dana Kellstrom got cold-decked in a big way.
Easy money, huh?
Peters and Brecker fell to Islami as well, and DJ Blanchard busted in 3rd.
Is there any applause?
Now it's West and Islami for over $250,000, the circuit ring, and the title of West Regional Champion. There's a look at the chip counts. Heads-up play begins with Islami in the lead by a little over 300,000 in chips. Blinds at 10 and 20,000.
You would know more about that field than I do. But
and an ante of $3K.
Yeah.
Given both their experience and knowledge of the game, I think we're going to see a pretty good heads-up match.
7-3 suited for Tim West. Not a pretty good hand, but he'll limp in.
No, not the greatest hand, but he certainly doesn't want to be folding, especially in heads-up play. Any 2 cards are playable.
I'll start us off here, Tim.
Islami checks his option and then fires a 20K dark bet.
Not sure what to say about that one. It's a unique one, I'll tell you that.
First time for everything. West calls the 20K with the double gutter.
I didn't even look at the flop, so.
Rightfully so.
Turn pairs the board. West adds a flush draw to his resume.
Islami showing some weakness with the check. He did bet it blind on the flop.
West with just 7 high, but he's going to bet 65,000, and that'll put an end to the first pot, which will go Tim West's way.
Woo, yeah. There we
West
go.
made a good bet on the turn. Ali showed some weakness on the turn, and he went after it with a bet.
Well, weakness isn't something that Ali Islami has a habit of showing in the high-limit games in California, where he's a big winner, and that experience has given him exposure to all kinds of players.
I'm Ali Islami, and I'm here from Los Angeles, California. In my experience, there's basically 3 types of poker players. One is the old school kind of intuition. These are the gamblers, the people that were in the bars smoking the cigars and that sort of thing. Then there's the new generation of really analytical players, somewhat math-based, really interested in particular spots and so forth. And then there's players that are kind of in the middle, and I think I fall into that category. Being from a games background and playing live, I think, is a nice advantage in this situation.
Islami hasn't just beaten up on live opponents. Along with Phil Locke, he actually beat the world's best computer robot in Limit Hold'em.
If I wanted to go to my favorite sushi place.
He says that was actually his biggest poker accomplishment. That's your good buddy, Phil Locke.
We are trusted, close business associates. He's never called me his friend, Ali.
No?
It hurts.
You guys are always looking to deliver the pain to one another.
He is my friend, and I do love him.
Speaking of pain, Ali Islami will look to deliver a dose of that himself. Up against King 10 for Tim West. Tim has raised it to 50.
Ali's certainly going to re-raise here.
Or not.
Or not. He is out of position, but in a heads-up situation where the opponent is willing to get all of his money in with a hand like ace-queen, possibly ace-jack, I like re-raising.
8 high board misses both players. 106,000 in the middle.
This is the predicament you get yourself into. It comes with a bad flop, and then what do you do?
Well, how about lead out?
I like the lead, but what happens when you get called?
65,000 is the bet. Tim West goes away. Ali takes it down.
It worked out for Islami.
What?
Nothing wrong with what he did. I just would have done it a little different.
Under the radar, checking it out.
I got a copper? Sweet.
Well, Islami seems a little surprised to have taken the pot down right there, but he did have the best hand. Harrah's Rincon Hotel and Casino is an oasis just north of San Diego. With diverse dining, an impressive gaming floor, and a luxurious pool complex, this is a vacation spot not to be missed. Good look at the skyline of San Diego, and if you've ever flown into the San Diego airport, then you know what that looks like. Time now for part 2 of our Dale Earnhardt Jr. Phil Hellmuth Jr. one-on-one.
You know, it's a real pleasure for me to interview Dale Earnhardt Jr., the most popular NASCAR driver on the planet. Now, we know you're great at racing cars. You have any poker game?
I feel like I can play Texas Hold'em pretty well. I play online with a bunch of friends. The one problem I have is the lingo. All my buddies know the lingo and say all these things, and I'm like, I don't even know what y'all.
Well, you know what all in is. You guys move all in on the racetrack.
Yeah. I mean, I know a couple of phrases, but I got to learn the lingo. But I'd love to challenge you one time to.
Oh yeah, no. I mean, look, game. You know, I do charity tournaments all over the country. Yeah. We raised about 13, 14 million. We need to get you to one of those.
I'm sure I wouldn't do as bad as you did in a race car. I think I'd have a little more luck.
You don't think I'll be crashing the car in the Harrah's parking lot?
I might not win the tournament, but I won't put myself in the fence.
Oh my God. This interview's over. Forget about it.
I'd be lying if I didn't say that I enjoyed watching Phil crash that car. I'm glad he wasn't hurt, but I did get a little pleasure out of that.
I don't know how he picked out a pole. There was so much empty asphalt, and the guy went beeline right into the one thing that he could wreck.
That's Phil Hellmuth, ladies and gentlemen.
Picking up the action, it's 10 deuce suited for Tim West. He opens to 50,000, and it's deuce 5 suited for Ali Islami.
Finally, somebody plays the old Doyle.
10 Dewey.
And he's up against 5 deuce, which happens to be called the Cajun Slick, a guy I learned from, Eldon Elias, way back in the day. That's his famous hand, the old 5 Dewey.
Pair of deuces now for Islami, along with a wheel draw. Same pair for Tim West with a better kicker. Ali checks it. West fires 40,000.
Islami not going anywhere. Again, as people know, it's very difficult to make a pair. You know, if you take out 5 cards in a deck and just deal them out, more often than not, you're not going to make a pair.
Islami calls 40,000, pot up to 186. Turn pairs the ace. Islami knuckles a second time over to Tim. Tim's content to check behind.
He doesn't want to build the pot anymore. What he wants to do is keep the action where it is and possibly call a river bet if Islami bets.
And how about spike a 10 on the end to improve to aces and 10s? Islami checks a third time.
West, knowing that Islami doesn't have an ace, probably going to go for a value bet here.
He certainly is, settling on 90,000. That's a half pot size bet.
I would be surprised if Islami calls. Islami's very good at reading his opponent's cards.
Out of 10.
Well, he's going to make the call and make a mistake in the process, sending a pot of 366,000 over to Tim West.
Islami not too happy with his call there. He felt like he was beat, yet he threw his chips out. Sometimes as poker players, we tend to do that.
While it's okay not to be happy with the call, obviously Ali doesn't want to carry any frustration forward from this point. Tim West nearly evens the stacks with that pot. At this point, it's really anyone's game. West started out as the chip leader with 843,000 when the final table began. Ali was in fourth with 395,000. 2 six-figure paydays yet to be awarded. $282,000 and change will go to first place. Back to the heads-up action. Tim West looks at King 9 offsuit. Makes it $50,000. That's the standard figure. Jack 7 for Islami.
Haven't seen many 3-bets from Islami. He tends to like to call.
And that's exactly what he does here. $106,000 in the pot heading to the flop.
As we know, Islami is a math guy, and he knows that any 2 cards are very valuable heads up. He's doing the right thing by playing a lot of hands.
Not connecting with the flop here, and he checks over to West, who also missed the flop and checks behind. His king high currently in the lead. Board pairs on the turn. Islami checks a second time. West content to check as well.
When West checks the flop, I like to check on the turn. He's got a king high. He might have the best hand. Why give his opponent a position to take the pot away from him?
Third ace on the river, and Islami checks a third time. Now West looks like he's going to value bet $40,000.
This doesn't matter that much.
And that is exactly what he's doing. A lot of people at home might think that he's trying to bluff, try and take the pot away, but West is quite certain that his king high is good and is going for the value bet.
Ali with the second nut no pair.
King 9.
Pays off.
Yeah.
That was a great bet by West.
He either had, I knew he had 1 or 2 hands, basically. 1 or 2 types of hands.
Islami obviously not happy with that outcome. Things have not been going well for him so far in heads-up play.
Thank you.
The sign says Harrah's Rincon, but it might as well read Value Town as Tim West takes the chip lead from Ali Islami. Heads-up play continues from Harrah's Rincon. Ali Najad along with Antonio Esfandiari. High-level no-limit hold'em here at the West Regional Championship. And Tim West has taken back the chip lead. Been a while since he's had that. $1.5 million to $1.436. Blinds at 10 and 20, Annie a 3K.
Tim West jumping on the momentum train, winning more pots than his opponent.
Full steam ahead so far in heads-up play for Team A 420 as he's known online.
Wonder what that stands for.
And West makes it $50,000 to go with Jack 10 offsuit. Islami with the computer hand as it's known, Queen 7, the average winning hand when all 5 cards are dealt out in hold'em. He calls an extra $30K. Top pair for Ali, middle pair for Tim. Both players checking.
Islami pretty standard to check. His opponent did raise going in. He wants him to continuation bet. That's a standard check.
Islami checking a second time on the turn. West checking as well after picking up the gut shot. Board pairs on the river.
Islami should value bet here. If his opponent had an ace in his hand, he more than likely would have bet the turn.
Ali feels the same way you do, betting $45,000. West makes the call, and Islami will take down the pot.
And West did a good job in that pot by not betting the flop and creating a big pot. He certainly could have lost more.
Ali Islami taking back the chip lead.
I love it. The reason I love heads up is because you can play a lot of hands.
Yeah.
Like 10 deuce.
Some may say. What'd you have, Queen 6?
7.
It's a cutoff, right? That's a computer hand.
It's a computer hand, yeah. Average.
Islami on the button. Couple of deuces. He makes it $45,000 to go, blazing his own trail, not following Tim West's $50K standard pre-flop raise.
A lot of the old school players like to bring it in for more than double the big blind. A lot of the new players, what I find, is like to do the min raise or 1.5x.
West defends his big blind with Queen Jack suited for the extra $25K. He misses the flop. Islami's deuces, still the best hand. Tim checks it over to Ali, who checks behind and fills up on the turn.
When you know the turn is going to be a deuce, why not check the flop?
Well, Tim checks a second time.
By checking twice, Tim is basically giving up the pot. Ali might check again and try and induce a bluff out of Tim on the river.
And that's exactly what he's done. River card is the 8 of clubs. Will West try to bluff at it? The answer is no.
West smells a trap and decides he better not.
And now no reason for Ali to check in position on the river. He's going to fire 58,000.
West trying to decide what could Islami have where he's betting. Did he check an ace twice on the flop and the turn? Is he possibly value betting a king? Maybe an 8. His queen high could be good, and in a lot of spots in this exact situation, it will be good.
It could be doing what I was doing earlier.
West can't resist. He's going to call 58,000 and get a look at the monster.
Were you mumbling when you were calling?
I was kind of mumbling.
You were complaining?
Oh, no, I wasn't complaining.
Mumbling something.
Back-to-back pots for Ali Islami.
Poker, it's all about numbers. Over 35 million players. 225 countries. More than 1.8 million hands every hour. Over $150 million in tournament winnings every month. The best numbers are found at PokerStars.com, the world's largest poker site.
Back inside Harrah's Rincon for the West Regional. Heads-up action between Ali Islami and Tim West. Blinds have gone up to 12 and 24,000. Ante up to 4,000. West on the button with King 10 off.
That's why I thought it was pretty even.
He'll make it 62.
Probably more just general heads-up poker experience than you do.
Yeah.
I would imagine.
Heads-up poker is just different in general, even if it's no limit or limit.
I was just saying that earlier to somebody in an interview, I think.
Islami with Jack 8 calls the extra 38.
We know Islami doesn't like to fold out of the big blind.
Poker is just heads-up poker, mostly.
I don't think we've seen a single fold out of Ali from the big blind
More
yet.
heads-up poker than it is.
Good flop for him. He makes 8s.
The game that it is.
To go with the 4s on the board. Swing and a miss for Tim West.
Islami seems to flop top pair quite a bit heads up.
Never a bad thing.
Certainly not.
At least if you're Ali. He's checked it over to Tim, and Tim's reaching for chips. Continuation betting, 80,000. Ali makes the call.
I like Islami's call here. What you don't want to do is check raise and open yourself up for another raise. You want to keep the pot small. You only have a pair of 8s, and your opponent seems to want to fire. You don't want to take that away from him.
Ali's improved to jacks and 8s on the turn. He checks a second time, and West checks behind. Third 4 on the river.
150.
Islami fires 150.
We saw West calling earlier with queen high. Let's see what he does with king high.
Call.
150. Plus.
That's good.
Well, he's made the call.
A lot of people at home are trying to figure out why in the world West would call with king high. But if you really think about it, what does Ali really have? Is he betting an 8 so strong? Probably not. So he either has a jack or a 4 or a missed flush draw.
Time now for the Amp Energy hand of the day, and it came when play was 4-handed. DJ Blanchard chose not to re-raise before the flop with pocket aces. And when the turn brought an ace, Steve Brecker had no choice but to go with his ace-king. Brecker was drawing dead, and Blanchard had signs of life.
Wow.
DJ Blanchard earns tonight's Amp Energy hand of the day. Back to heads-up action. Ali Islami has a 1.9 million to 1 million chip lead. He'll be on the button here. Takes a peek at 9-7 offsuit.
9-7 is the Persian carpet ride.
if that were to happen.
Why is it called the Persian carpet ride? I'll bite.
Many, many moons ago, when I first started playing poker, I played the 9-7 in one evening. I won multiple pots, and since then, my friends have called it the Persian carpet ride.
So you are the man responsible for that.
True.
Tim West with ace-5 here. He's reaching deep, re-raising to 174,000.
This is one of those hands where you have an ace in your hand. You kind of just want to get the pot over with right then and there. He doesn't really want to see a flop. If an ace doesn't come, now he's got to follow through with a continuation bet. If he gets called, he doesn't like it. So he'd rather just end it right there.
Well, you probably have a lot of heads-up. Well, it's different, though, huh? I was going to say you probably have a lot of heads-up experience from sit-and-goes, though. If you're into those.
Yeah, my heads-up experience is fair.
Fair. That's cool.
Some friendly banter between the two opponents.
They've actually been pretty talkative, considering all that cash right there at the table is what's at stake.
That's the beauty about poker.
Nah, might as well just play a little while.
282,000 and change. And, of course, the coveted World Series of Poker circuit ring. West makes it 62,000 to go. Islami looks down at 2 aces.
The end could be near.
I smell smoke.
Both players wanting to get it all in pre-flop. Islami a little more than West.
Ali weighing his options. And he's going to 3-bet it.
We finally see a 3-bet out of Islami. And guess what he has? The Nutter Butters.
I'm on.
Oh, man. I got you. Call.
Oh, you got me? Wow, you got it?
I got it.
West moves all in. The snap call from Islami.
That's sick.
Pretty sick. Finally had the run-in.
And things are not looking good for
Someone told me
Tim.
I was going to get second. They won't believe it.
Not what he had in mind when he got his stack in with ace-queen. He is a huge underdog heading into this flop.
You got, no?
No. Got one live suit.
8-6 deuce with a couple of spades. Islami's got the ace of spades, so that won't be a factor.
Sucks.
Tim West needs to hit running queens or it's all over.
A little over a 300-to-1 shot.
Did you have it earlier when you made it, though?
Jack of clubs on the turn, ices it. Ali Islami is your 2011 World Series of Poker Circuit West Regional Champion.
Islami taking it down. There were a couple of pots. He played a little goofy, but overall, I think he played exceptional, and he took it down. Congratulations. He deserves the win.
Tim West didn't do too bad himself, and he's going to earn $174,000 and change for his effort. We caught up with him right after the final table was over.
Going into the heads up, he had me about 1.7 to 1.2, and I chipped him down. He made a furious comeback, and he played a great match. And there's a couple adjustments I could have made at that point when he started to come back, and I didn't. And that's where, the heads up experience comes into play. And, sometimes it'll go your way, and sometimes it doesn't. That's just how it is. But in this one, I think I could have played a little bit better, but for the most part, I think Ali just played really well.
So Ali Islami takes it down in style with pocket aces. A grueling final table has come to a dramatic close, and the World Series of Poker circuit ring belongs to high-stakes professional Ali Islami.
Wow, you got it?
I got it.
Wow.
Islami busted foe after foe, ultimately wrestling away the chip lead from his fiercest opponent.
You know what they say, you can't win them all unless you win the first 4.
After a seesaw battle, a final hand cooler sealed Islami's win at nearly $300,000.
Thank you very much.
Congratulations.
Now Islami can set his sights on the national championship in Las Vegas. For Antonio Esfandiari, I'm Ali Nejad. Good night from Harrah's Rincon.